back. I'm Joe Fortin, and today I'm just going to make a video talking about, excuse me, the past year or so, and the changes that I've made and that I've undergone, and want to talk a little bit about my previous content, my past videos. If you followed my Instagram or Facebook, haven't had Facebook for a couple of years. It's been a great move. But just talking about the reason, again, why I took a lot of that content down, and why I've had such a hard time getting the ball rolling again, making content. And I guess I'm gonna be very forthcoming and say that number one is feelings of shame and regret due to my previous presentation style, my behavior. Number two is being pretty relentlessly attacked and judged for my past and my path, right, which was admittedly very messy. And number three is a strong desire to make sure that the information that I am distributing is truthful, is helpful, is coming from a place of center, is coming from a place of love. And a lot of my previous content, I do not believe aligns with those values. And so that is why I've taken a lot of the older content down. Sydney and I have been making attempts for months to create content. We've made probably over 50 videos together that we have not uploaded for various reasons. And in the beginning, that had a lot to do with external forces and influences that, frankly, we were afraid of because of the level of volatility displayed in certain situations. And we were newly in a relationship and trying to figure each other out and trying to find a place of balance. And we, the reason I took down the channel a year ago was for one very simple reason. When I met Sydney, I wanted a fresh start. I really wanted things to work, and I wanted to make sure that I kept myself in balance and in check. And I chose not to try to do both things at once. I didn't want to deal with the public and all of the energy and all of the people and all of the comments and all that comes with all of that. And I was able to do that. And so that's what I chose to do. I largely chose to do that for her and for myself, right? Now, admittedly, in the very beginning, I also was, a little bit ashamed of my previous content, especially the very early content that I made, and quite frankly, I didn't want her to see that earlier content out of context before getting to know me and before I had a chance to explain my journey to her and to explain, why, I was so imbalanced in the ways that I was, right? And now, with, full context and having had, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of conversation, and, Sydney knows me better than any other human being on the planet in my entire life. And I think she would agree vice versa, in the opposite. We know each other to a depth that is well beyond anything that I've ever experienced in life, in any other relationship, whether it be friendship, family, anything like that. But that was a big reason why, I kind of chose to take the content down. And also, if you have been watching the channel, right along, I went through a period of time, I suppose maybe a couple of years ago, where I started to clean things up, and I started to present myself in a little bit more of a mature and balanced fashion, and that's been a journey. So the longer that time has gone on, the less aligned I've been with my former self, is really the truth of it. And yet at this point, I actually opened up my Instagram account, and this was actually my more tame Instagram account. I had another Instagram account, which was my personal account, where it was like, I didn't care what I posted on that account. The more tame account is the one that is shown at the end of the video, which is Joe Fortin 1111. And currently, there's still quite a lot of older posts on there, and I hadn't looked at them in a long time. And the big reason I hadn't looked at them was because I felt ashamed of just some of the things that I had said and done, and how reckless I was, and how much anger I was throwing around, and how I was really feeding a lot of the negative energy that was coming my way, and I didn't really see it, and just a quick little snippet here. If you're familiar with like narcissistic personality disorder, one of the number one like ways to deal with this that is taught is called gray rocking, which is essentially like just not reacting to the person, right? And whether that's a person who's full-on narcissistic personality disorder, full-on personality disorder, or just dealing with someone who's in a narcissistic aspect at the moment, right? That is actually one of the most effective ways to deal with that type of energy. And I was doing the opposite. So basically what I was doing was like, when people were throwing shade at me and being like, horrible in the comments and stuff like that, I would just respond in kind, and I would just attack back, and I would act more crazy, to prove like trying to prove a point, like trying to be like, well, if you're gonna call me crazy, well, I'll show you crazy, you know what I mean? And like, a lot of that was just me basically being a little dickhead is what I was doing. And it's the truth, I was literally just irritating people because I could, and because it was like, it was coming from this place of like hating the world, and just like feeling misunderstood, and like wanting like revenge, essentially, and I didn't really see that at the time. I didn't see what I was doing, and I didn't see that the way that I was presenting myself wasn't helpful, and that it wasn't productive. And so, while at the time I fully believed in my heart that I was doing the right thing, and I did what I did out of a desire to be open and authentic with my process, right? And I did do that, but there was a lot underneath the veneer, that I hadn't uncovered yet, and that I hadn't been able to really fully look at and process. And the last year has been one of the hardest but one of the most fruitful years of my entire life. And the big reason for that was meeting Sydney. meeting Sydney was like looking into the mirror of my true self again for the first time in a very long time. Sydney has a purity of heart and an innocence that I haven't ever seen before. And it invoked in me an incredibly strong, almost primal desire to protect that. And I didn't care about protecting myself, as you could see. When I used to make videos, I didn't care. I would make videos about very large organizations that are very clearly dangerous and literally provoke them in my videos. And that is what it is, right? Like, there's no point in like trying to pretend that didn't happen because it did, right? And when I met her, I realized that maybe that wasn't necessarily in my best interest. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the best approach, and maybe I should take some time to reevaluate what it is I'm actually trying to do here. And what I realized is that I'm trying to uplift myself. I'm trying to uplift those around me. I am obviously someone who values truth above basically all else. Perhaps only beneath love. And so I've been sorting through a lot of very complicated, very difficult issues in my own life, in my own psyche, in the world. And I spent many years doing nothing but reading and researching, and essentially originally coming from the approach of trying to fix myself, right? Because I felt broken. I was a drug addict. I had pretty bad psychological issues. I had pretty bad emotional issues. I had very bad CPTSD, and I did have anger issues. And there was so much that I was lacking in my education of how to be a functional human being. And not due to anyone's fault. This is not about blaming. There was a period of time where I was in that victim mindset and blaming my parents and blaming the world and blaming this person or that person. And while I do acknowledge and I do see that there are absolutely forces at work here that work overtime to suppress people, I also understand that I have the power and the capability of overcoming that. And that's a large part of what I believe that we are tasked to do here in this life, right? But it was very difficult. And in my most vulnerable moments, when I reached out for help, a good example was, the facility that I was in just prior to beginning my channel. Now, I've spoken about it. I'm not going to mention it today. I'm not here to name names. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to take accountability for myself. And so, being in that facility and literally having my psyche fractured and leaving with very, very serious PTSD and very serious paranoia and in certain cases serious delusions was a lot to sort through. It was a lot to grapple with. And after that, I continually met people who fed garbage into my psyche. In some cases consciously, in some cases probably unconsciously, and I unconsciously redistributed that to other people, not knowing what I was doing, right? But I was determined, and this led me through that maze of darkness and suffering to finally arrive at a place where I feel like I've sorted quite a bit of it out. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I have done my best, my absolute best, to hold myself accountable, to repent, to make amends where and when I can, and to correct my behavior. I went to a lot of counseling. I did a lot. That's why I have 900 YouTube videos. They're not all up right now, but that was all in an effort to become the man that I know myself to be. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people are essentially trained to keep each other down. And so, with certain areas, specifically some of the ones that I had issues with, it's very difficult to have a conversation around those topics, because there are people with a vested interest in continually punishing you, regardless of if you take accountability for yourself, regardless if you make amends, regardless if you change your behavior. They don't understand forgiveness. They're intentionally taught not to. They're intentionally taught to continually beat each other down. And it makes for a very hostile environment to try to put yourself back together in. This is especially true for men. There's a reason why men do not largely come out and speak about their emotions. There is a reason why men largely do not come out and talk about things like sexual abuse, right? It's seen as emasculating. There's shame just around even admitting those types of things have occurred. And I'm not saying that that's not the case for other genders, as the case may be. But we have an environment in this society which is not conducive to helping people return to a state of wellness. We have a society which is conducive to creating more and more toxicity and bringing people into a darker and darker and more inverted, either luciferic or satanic state of being. And right now, those forces are working overtime to pull you into those types of places. And from what I've witnessed in this place, the people that really, really try to do the right thing from their heart just go through the friggin' ringer. Look, there's a reason why. If you are familiar with Lisa Renee, I'm going to post an article down below because I had been explaining this to Sydney. I was saying the people out there that are really exposing what's going on are getting pummeled. They're getting pummeled. Censored, canceled, deplatformed, shadow banned, attacked, targeted, assassinated if they get far enough. There's plenty of examples of this. There's a reason why people like Lisa Renee are not on this platform, for example, or on regular media platforms, right? Ashiana Dean, very quiet at this point. Why? Well, the reason why is because when she tried to be open and tell the truth, she got eviscerated by the New Age. Character assassination, defamation, probably physical attacks as well. It's endless in this place. And so This needs to be acknowledged, right? Not coming from a place of victimhood, but coming from a place of objective truth and reality. This is the way it is here. This is what we have to contend with. This is what we have to overcome. This is why we need strong masculine energy. In alignment with Christ, the Christ, the divine masculine. It's a protector. And what's needed at this time is to make... We're not going to fix their system. You're not going to fix it. We have to make our own kingdom, our own realms, our own communities, our own systems of trade and barter, our own economies, our own communities, our own tribes, right? People that are in alignment with us, and create something that is superior and attract people through demonstrating that, not through fighting their system. Evil begets evil. And you will not win that way. Stand your ground. Defend yourself. Don't allow yourself to be abused or enslaved or drained of your energy, your quantum. But the nature of that energetic dynamic, the energy of the satanics, is that it will eventually destroy itself. We just have to create safety, largely through faith, but also making the intelligent moves. You were given this for a reason. When needed. So anyway, I'm going to get off of that tangent and just say that I've changed so much, especially in the past year, that it's very difficult for me to even look at my old content. I feel so far removed from where I was at that point. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of the masks that I was wearing at the time were distorted. And I was displaying that intentionally to show people that essentially what I was teaching was efficacious, and it works, and that you can come out of that level of just torture, frankly, and become stronger and realign yourself with your true self, right? Restructure your personality, restructure your ego, refine yourself, bring yourself back into a place of wholeness, integrate the shadow, become a good man, if that's what you desire to be. And all men who feel their hearts desire that. And it can be done. I am doing it. A good man is not someone who hasn't made mistakes. A good man is someone who corrects their mistakes. That's all we can do. And so this is my means of correcting some of those, right? I am going to do things differently from here on out. And what I wanted to say was that the last year also, essentially, I stopped researching everything. I completely turned off my phone and literally didn't even like look at it like much at all. And I put my knowledge and intention into action, and I used the tools, and that's what has led me to this point. It was a phase of integration of all that I had learned, and also it was a phase of trials and tests for me. I had to learn to let go. And I did let go. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but there is like some kind of expression that goes like if someone leaves you and they don't return, then they weren't meant for you. But someone who's meant for you will, always find their way back to you. And I did go through a period of time where I had to fully allow that. And it was painful. But I completely let go of control, which is why the progression has happened so quickly, because I knew what I needed to do. I had all the knowledge, right? It was simply a question of doing it. It's easy to talk about things. It's a very different thing to do them. And that was something that I had been guilty of in the past and still guilty of today, where it's like sometimes I can't follow my own advice. I think that that's true of most people. But I'm a work in progress, and I sincerely hope that, even though some of my older content was kind of unhinged, I sincerely hope that it's been helpful for those of you who have stuck with me and watched the channel. I think you have to be quite dim to not see that there has been a radical transformation. I am not. It's interesting because for a long time I felt this strong desire to prove that to people, and now it's just like it's fairly self-evident, and I think that if you can't see it, so yeah, I'm going to be much more careful in the content that I release. I may make a new channel because this one is shadow banned. Actually, no, that's going to happen. I will be making a new channel with Sydney. It will be called, SovereignSynergy. And if that name's taken, it might make it, something slightly different. I will continue to have this channel, and there will, Sydney has her own TikTok, which is actually doing really well, and I'll post details down below. We've got a combined TikTok we haven't put a lot of time into yet, because we've sort of just been working through a lot of stuff. I've been working through a lot of my blocks to making content in general, and having this conversation, because there's just so much that I've had to process, right? But Sydney also has an Instagram. Again, details will be down below. And then we have stuff we're doing together. So, we're going to be doing a workshop soon as well. And details will be coming soon. We made a video. So there's so much more that, I would love to say. And I probably will just make more videos about this in terms of being, forthcoming. But for those of you walking this path, for those of you walking the twin flame path, my heart is with you. And for the women out there, right, who are encountering reflections, encountering men that maybe aren't treating you well, or you can see are like in their shadow and they're not themselves, give it time. Do your own inner work, right? Because what will happen is that if you change, they change, right? And that may be in the same physical form, or it may be that you attract someone new. It's not important. What's important is the alchemical initiation, the transformation within. We're here to refine the ego. We're here to embody these templates, right? And it all starts with you. Your heart has the answers. You just have to listen to it. So that's all for today. I will probably make more videos talking about this in more depth. But again, to those of you who've watched the channel for the past 5 years or so, thank you so much for sticking with me through that. And I know that some of you probably are in similar places to where I was at, which is why we resonated at the time. And if you're still in those places, it's okay. It's okay. It may not feel like it, but you are where you need to be right now. And you can and will overcome this if you believe in yourself and you put in the effort. You do have to put in the effort. Action steps are important, regardless of what the law of attraction gurus may say. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for all the support over the years. And I'm looking forward to this new chapter moving forward. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below and click the icon to your left to subscribe. New content every week about spirituality and addiction from myself, Joe Fortin. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.